Legislators in Northwest Indiana neighbors pause to honor servicemen and women, and some area residents don't want a proposed Gary facility to serve as a detention center. Those stories and more coming up next on Lakeshore Report.
The Indiana University Northwest School of Business and Economics is the only public institution in the region to hold AACSB International accreditation. The program provides undergraduate business education with a balanced curricula based in leadership, teamwork, and technology. IUN serves both traditional and non-traditional commuter students in a diverse urban environment. Learn more at iun.edu/business.
We're here in Gary, Indiana.
Hello, I'm Kristen Estes, and this is Lakeshore Report.
Several Hoosiers are spending Military and Veterans Appreciation Week honoring those in uniform. Governor Mike Pence celebrated Veterans Day at the Indiana Veterans Home in West Lafayette Wednesday. The governor thanked veterans and called them heroes. U.S. Senator Dan Coats also shared his gratitude in a statement saying, "We also give thanks to military families." Now, there's still time to celebrate the holiday. Log on to www.indianalegion.org to see what other organizations are honoring discounts through the end of the week. Well, residents in Maryville turned out to celebrate Veterans Day as well. An event at the Maryville Town Hall featured an honor guard and patriotic speeches about veterans making a difference in their communities.
The Lord lift his countenance upon you.
The veterans were treated to a melody of patriotic songs from the Maryville High School choir. Guest speaker, veteran Jim Chancellor, told guests veterans often become volunteers and first responders when they come home from war. He also invited people to ask a vet about their story. He says most vets would be happy to talk about life as a soldier. Vets we spoke to say their special day should serve as a reminder of the price of freedom.
Well, it makes me feel good. They should do that to all the veterans. In fact, I go up to the World War II veterans and do it myself. Well, if it wasn't for the veterans, we wouldn't be here and have our freedom and be able to express it the way we do.
Veterans from Desert Storm, Vietnam, and World War II were among those represented at the celebration. Some vocal opponents of a proposed immigration processing and detention facility near Gary shouted down members of the Gary City Zoning Board at a recent meeting. Residents say they need jobs, but not these jobs. Representatives of Geo Group Incorporated were supposed to present their plan for the $65 million facility, but they asked for postponement and they got it. The facility is set to be located near the Gary International Airport and could create 200 jobs, according to company officials. Mayor Karen Freeman Wilson says she supports the plan. Some who oppose the plan say the company has a bad record of mistreating prisoners and their families.
We need to remove these the seeds of death that will come with this detention center that we all know will just destroy and not build the families that are so important to this area.
GEO must go. We want no part of GEO in Gary or any place in Northwest Indiana. We must preserve our communities. We do not want immigrants to be terrorized. We do not want families to be destroyed.
Officials with Geo Group are due back before the Gary Zoning Board on November 23rd at 1 p.m. Well, one other public plan hopes to give area roads a revamp. This week, Governor Mike Pence announced his 21st Century Crossroads plan that will provide $1 billion to fix Indiana's crumbling roads and bridges. Not to be outdone, the state's Democrats announced their own plan, a $2 billion proposal to address those same problems. Indiana House Democratic leader Scott Pelath of Michigan City characterizes the governor's plan as meek and says it does not go nearly as far as it should. He said that investing in Indiana's infrastructure is the #1 economic issue that the state needs to address.
I'm going to propose today that the sales tax on gasoline, which goes to fund everything except roads and bridges, all goes to roads and bridges. So we need to begin the era where everything you pay at the pump that goes to the state of Indiana goes back to paying to fix, maintain, or create a road or a bridge here in this state.
The Democratic plan, which would allocate approximately $525 million a year over 4 years, will be offered during the 2016 session of the Indiana General Assembly. Well, a law meant to prevent conflicts of interest for elected officials means some local legislators are close to losing their jobs, at least the ones that aren't public office. Our partners at the Times of Northwest Indiana say several local officials tell a federal court they want to keep jobs that may be in jeopardy because of a 2012 state law. The regulation, known as the double dip rule, prevents people from holding 2 government jobs at once. It's a choice that some lawmakers say is not easy to make.
I can see both ends of that. I mean, one is that obviously you think that there might be a conflict of interest, but at the same time, when you're talking about most of the cities and towns throughout the state of Indiana, they're of a small level, and everybody knows everybody. And so when you have a skill that's going to be beneficial to your city and town, just because you happen to work for the city and town, you shouldn't discard that.
The fact of the matter is that we have to encourage people to serve. We should trust the voters as much, but we do need to have some ethical guidelines about how people behave. Sometimes it's as simple as abstaining from votes or consideration of certain things. So I always have an open mind for what's going to work best.
Some local elected officials now have until the end of the year to resign their most lucrative jobs. The wife of former state representative Earl Harris has decided she wants the job for another term. Harris held a fundraiser to begin laying the groundwork for her run. Representative Donna Harris was elected to fill her husband's seat after he died. State Representative Earl Harris, Democrat of East Chicago, served in the state legislature for more than 30 years. Representative Donna Harris says her issues are redevelopment and education. She says her experience in being in the legislature with her husband gives her a valuable edge that other candidates are lacking.
I'm finishing my husband's term, but I'm up for re-election. I want to be able to continue education and economic development, which is so important. It's a challenge, a big challenge for our area, but we can do it if we work together.
Harris will serve in the next legislative session and then will be up for re-election in November of 2016. East Chicago Police Chief Mark Becker says he's trying to better his knowledge of the best police tactics. Recently, Chief Becker, along with Deputy Chief Frank Maldonado, did training through the Force Science Institute. They learned how to identify high-stress situations. The seminar featured video examples of police officers in real-life situations that, when broken down, showed how someone physically responds to police.
So we're trying to learn on how to better prepare ourselves to look for those types of indicators, to look for when those muscles tense up on an individual, to look when the hair in the back of their neck starts to stand up, to look when they're starting to get antsy, to think about, am I going to fight this officer, or am I going to run, am I going to comply, and then prepare ourselves for that.
Chief Becker says he understands people will always be able to act before an officer can react, but hopes understanding these indicators will help his officers survive potentially hostile situations. Residents are making people laugh to make money for a struggling theater, and how even more community members are making veterans feel appreciated. It's all coming up next on Lakeshore Report.
A program entitled Remembering Our Veterans will be presented at the LaPorte County Historical Society Museum in LaPorte on Saturday, November 14th, starting at 1 p.m. County historian Fern Eddy Schultz will be giving the program. She will also be discussing the difference between Veterans Day, Memorial Day, and Armistice Day, and how each should be observed. A Turkey Fun Fest at Bellaboo's is a week stuffed with turkey-filled fun, November 23rd through the 29th. Each day at 1:30 is Turkey Tales, and at 12, 2:30, and 4:30, Bellaboo Bakers feature my-size pumpkin pies. On Black Friday, November 27th, a Turkey Fun Fest celebration with handprint turkey art, turkey stories, songs, and finger plays, and a Thanksgiving Day parade will be held. Get Lakeshore's full community calendar events list at lakeshorepublicmedia.org.
It's a comedian's job to make you laugh, and a bunch of local comedians will try to do just that tonight. But it's not all funny business. It's an effort to raise funds to help restore the treasured Town Theater in Highland. Lakeshore Report's Michael Puente sits down with the funny people behind the effort.
Well, thank you, Hillary. Tom Bialik is one of the local comedians putting on tonight's fundraiser to bring the Town Theater to its former glory. Tom is here with his partner and personal friend and fellow comedian, Michelle Pisco. Thank you, Tom and Michelle, for being here.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks for having us.
Well, tell me a little bit about this fundraiser. When did you start planning it? And all the money, I guess, is going to go towards the Town Theater?
Absolutely. Well, first of all, the Tomfoolery Show is a comedy-based variety show. We have various types of comedy that we feature. We do primarily stand-up comedy, but some improv, some sketch, some musical and magical comedy, and then we mix in live music throughout the show. We've been doing shows now for almost 2 years. We've staged nearly 30 events, and about a year ago we started to do some fundraisers for some organizations that were looking to raise some money.
Okay.
One of those organizations was the Town Theater.
Okay.
Well,
let me ask you this. I mean, we know that the Town Theater has been closed for a while.
Right.
Why is it important to you? Why do you think it's important to have the Town Theater come back?
Well, personally, my background is not in entertainment, nor is Michelle's. Michelle's an educator. My background is in sales and sales leadership up until about 4 years ago. I grew up in Northwest Indiana, as did Michelle. We grew up being able to go to theaters in downtown Hammond, for example, like the Paramount Theater, Parthenon Theater. There were a lot of entertainment venues where one could go and see a show. As the years have gone by, those venues have pretty much gone away. I moved away for many years. I moved back about 5 years ago, and when I did, I realized there was pretty much a dearth of casual entertainment for the 30, 35 and up crowd to take advantage of. As a result, that's when we started the Tomfoolery Show.
Right.
Michelle and I were, we're out having a drink one night, and we were watching some game on the screen at our favorite spot, Langel's Sports Bar, Rodney Sports Bar in Highland, and we just said, we could do better than this. I mean, we need more. So that's when we put together the Tomfoolery Show. We staged an event, and it went over very well. So that got us to think we really could have more entertainment venues in this area. And when the Town Theater came up for rebuilding, we decided to look into it.
Well, Michelle, let me ask you this. Why is the Town Theater important to you?
Well, as a child, I remember going to the Town Theater. My family grew up in Highland, my mom and all her siblings. And so I remember going there as a child, and then it closed. But actually, more than just becoming a theater, it's really going to anchor the arts district in Highland, but not only in Highland, sort of in the region. So I think that it would be important for the Highland Town Council and actually neighboring towns to partner together to make sure that that happens, so that there could be a destination where people can go and have a nice event, hold a nice event, and even create an arts district around the theater.
Now, tonight's event starts at 8 o'clock at Via Caesar in Sherrville. Who do you have performing tonight?
Well, tonight we're going to have Joe Nuccio, who is a fabulous comedian out of the city, Chicago. Then we also have Marcy, the one and only Deloney, who is also very, very funny. And then we have Lucky Luciano, who will be joining us. And then our musical talent for the night will be the Nick Danger Band. So they're always fabulous, gets everybody up and dancing.
So if you're watching this show Friday night on Lakeshore Public Radio TV, and
Yes.
you want to come out to the show, it starts at 8 o'clock, you can do it.
Come on out. There's still time. Just let us know that you saw the show on TV, and we'll take care of you. Come on out.
All right. Well, Tom Bialik and Michelle Pisco, I want to thank you for coming on here on Lakeshore Report. I would love having you on.
Thank you so much, Mike. Thank you so much. We do appreciate it.
Well, that's all the time we have for. We'll see you next week. I'm Michael Puente.
Prescription drugs represent a major healthcare expense, and the number of adults in the U.S. taking prescription medication is increasing. A new study examined trends in prescription drug use from 1999 to 2012 among U.S. adults. Catherine Dolph has more in this week's JAMA Report.
Today, there seems to be a pharmacy on almost every street corner. With hundreds of different drugs coming and going from the market, it's not surprising that prescription drug use is on the rise.
We observed an overall increase in prescription drug use. In 1999-2000, 51% of all U.S. adults aged 20 and older reported any use of prescription medications. And this increased to 59% in 2011-12.
Dr. Elizabeth Cantor from Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center and co-authors examined more than a decade of data from nearly 40,000 U.S. adults 20 years and older participating in the National Health and Nutrition Examination Survey, or NHANES. The number taking 5 or more prescription drugs almost doubled from 8.2% in 1999 to 2000 to 15% in 2011 to 2012.
This is particularly notable among older adults, ages 65 and older. When we account for age, we find that the trends persist, suggesting that there are factors other than the aging of the population driving this increase.
The study appears in JAMA, Journal of the American Medical Association.
When we look at drugs taken to control high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, depression, we see increases in all of those drug classes. We also see increases in some less commonly used drug classes, such as muscle relaxants.
Simvastatin, used to treat high cholesterol, was the most commonly used prescription drug in 2011-12, taken by nearly 8% of all U.S. adults.
And when we look at the 10 most commonly used drugs in 2011-12, most of these drugs are taken for conditions associated with cardiovascular disease, as well as the factors contributing to cardiovascular disease, such as obesity.
The sharpest increases in prescription drug use occurred in the early 2000s.
Within the later 2000s, we actually saw that some drug classes remained stable and some modestly decreased.
Catherine Dolph, The JAMA Report.
As we celebrate Veterans Day this week, we often think of the men and women overseas fighting for democracy. But here in Northwest Indiana, some people are also thinking about veteran families. In the South Haven section of Valparaiso's Dohertys is a veteran family that has fallen on hard times because of a recent fire that destroyed their home. As Stephen Lattimore reports, they are down but not out.
It's a good news, bad news story. The bad news, as you can see behind me, is that this veteran's house is a total loss. The good news is that veterans and strangers alike are showing up here to help rebuild this family's house. No questions asked.
It's been a rough couple of weeks for the Doherty family. On October 24th, a fire gutted their home in the South Haven portion of Valparaiso. Pat, their dad, is a veteran. He's worked hard to make a place for his family, and now it's all gone.
It's helped me deal with the fire. I don't dwell on it. I know it's an accident, and I know things will work out. I've got support from family. I've got support from friends. The American Legion that I'm a member of has given me support. I've support at work, so we have support at church. We've had many people give us support. They're telling us things will work out, and we realize it will work out with time.
They were trying to get insurance just before the fire, but were turned down. Pat's wife, Wanda, is disabled, and she just started chemotherapy. This could not have come at a worse time. Despite their situation, Wanda says her faith is what's keeping her going.
I think I'm crazy, but I hear that in my head. Wanda, I got this for you. Don't worry, I got it. And each time something like another bill comes up, we don't have the money, another fund donation comes in. God's got it. I'm not worried about anything. Nothing.
Her extended family is there to help support them during this tough time.
God is good all the time, and He's going to provide for them. I know He will. And it's going to be better. It's going to be better than what it was before.
Jennifer May is their daughter. She can't believe the outpouring of support and help for her family.
It's amazing. I can't believe how many people, I get phone calls every day saying there's people driving up from Kentucky today to drop off clothes. There's people coming next week from Lafayette. I've never in my life, I was struggling to try to get help in the very beginning to contact people. I made one contact because they were veterans. It just all came pouring in. So.
Jay Beckham is a veteran and a relative. He's working to get them back on their feet, and he's not alone.
The Red Cross showed up. We had the Red Cross disaster team show up. They met with them for a brief period. And then we got the Lions Club. They've been tremendous, along with 502 Legion. Some of the motorcycle organizations have also been bringing in clothes and items that they could use for the family. So The least I could do is help spearhead getting the house rebuilt and put back together properly.
Like Pat, Jay knows about the Brotherhood of Veterans.
But when you serve together, you learn to be able to watch each other's back. So it's just, the brotherhood of the military is, I don't know how to describe it. It's sometimes it's better than family.
Once you're in the environment, you're in that environment, you stick together. It's a brotherhood. It's just your brother and sister. Everyone looks out for each other. And when I left the military and went back into the civilian world, I missed that. I felt lost. And now with the 502, I've gotten it back. And it makes me proud that I served and they served.
If all goes well with the bill, they hope to be back in this House in March of next year. In Valparaiso, Stephen Lattimore, Lakeshore Report.
Well, some veterans are now serving the needs of a new cuddly companion this week after a little goodwill from a rescue group. In a first-time event, a Pets for Vets program in Valparaiso paired veterans with adoptable dogs. The event, sponsored by Lakeshore Paws and Fifth Third Bank, made the adoptions free. Organizers say the event is meant to thank servicemen and women for their sacrifice.
There's been some research with veterans, and nothing that anybody's necessarily recognized, but just that dogs make people happier when they see them. A veteran that's stressed, has come back from war, things like that, it can make it so much easier for them, to have that companion at home when they walk in the door.
So cute. For more information about adoption, you can find that at www.lakeshorepaws.org. And for more information on this and any of our other stories, you can go to lakeshorepublicmedia.org. Thank you so much for joining us. We hope to see you next time on Lakeshore Report.
The Indiana University Northwest School of Business and Economics is the only public institution in the region to hold AACSB International accreditation. The program provides undergraduate business education with a balanced curricula based in leadership, teamwork, and technology. IUN serves both traditional and non-traditional commuter students in a diverse urban environment. Learn more at iun.edu/business.
Hi, joining me for this edition of Eye on the Arts is Laura Cutler, Executive Director of the LaPorte County Symphony Orchestra, and my former exhibit director at South Shore Arts.
Yes.
Oh dear, this is, so Laura, tell me, how long have you been on the job?
3 days, just 3 days, John.
How's it going?
Really well. Oh, it's exciting. In just a few weeks, we're going to have our opening of our season. We're in our 43rd year.
Yeah. So you have made this tremendous shift going from visual arts centered life to music. Music, of all things. But at the same time, you still own a gallery in LaPorte. You were just elected to the city council of
Last
LaPorte.
night, yes.
That's very exciting. And so congratulations on all of this. You're all LaPorte all the time.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm excited about that. But hoping to do a lot of great things for the symphony and stay connected with South Shore Arts too.
Well,
you can't get rid of me too easy.
Yeah, no, well, and you have to ask us for a grant every 2 years.
That's right.
That little, yeah. But, which we just facilitate. But anyway, so you have this opening concert you said is on the 21st of this month.
At the Civic Auditorium in LaPorte. The concert theme is Fanfare. It's a tribute to the veterans, and we have a wonderful group coming from Chicago to feature. They're called Honor Flight, and they fly veterans to Washington for no charge.
I've heard of that.
Yeah, it's a wonderful group, and they fly them there, and they give them a whole day of tribute and remembrance. So they'll be featured. Also, the LaPorte County Symphony Children's Chorus will be performing under Matt Nelson's direction. Also, let's see, the maestro, Phil Bauman, has just organized a wonderful event. We're having LaPorte County Symphony, or the LaPorte High School Orchestra with Pete Collins. Oh, and our mayor, our former mayor, Lee Morris, who you know, he's quite theatrical. He's going to be narrating as well.
Oh, he'll be good.
Yeah, he'll be really good. So, yeah, it's exciting. Then Michigan City High School has a junior ROTC. They're going to bring the color guard for both the beginning and the end of the evening's performance.
Good grief,
So,
it's a
yeah.
cast of thousands.
Oh my gosh, and there's a wonderful Tchaikovsky piece. There's a, Dvorak, Going Home, that wonderful haunting. Yeah, it's going to be lovely.
And is this, do you do a veterans concert every year, or is that's just a special theme this year?
This is just a special theme this year.
People like those veterans concerts, let me tell you.
Oh, especially, and you know, in our area too, we have quite a few veterans and a lot of things happening. Yeah.
So how many concerts? How many concerts are in your season?
Just about 10. About 10. Well, we added a concert last year with New Buffalo, and they want us back, so that's exciting. Yeah.
That's good. Yeah. And you always perform at this, not always, do you usually perform at the Civic? Is it called Civic
Well, the
Auditorium?
Civic is kind of our main home, but we also perform at the Elston Theater in Michigan City. It depends on the size of the concert, the classic concert, and every year we also have a performance with the Holiday Pops with the Hospital Foundation, which will be coming up in December.
Well, good luck in your new career.
Thank you so much.
Both of them.
Thank you.
And thanks for being here.
Oh, it's great to be here.
And thanks for watching. We'll be back again next week with another edition of Eye on the Arts. Eye on the Arts is made possible in part by South Shore Arts, the Indiana Arts Commission, and the National Endowment for the Arts, a federal agency.